Hey everyone, welcome to POPXP. And before the show starts, make sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell to get notifications when we go live and we upload awesome new content. And don't forget, if you can, make sure to share our stream on all your social media outlets. We appreciate it, and thanks for helping us grow the POPXP channel. Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's the brain of the mainframe here, Nile Scala, and welcome to another exciting episode of Crowdfunding Comics right here on the POPXP. And joining me tonight is not only a member of the POPXP team, but an amazing creator in his own right. He is a fantastic author, and he has brought us something new that we haven't really had on any of our shows yet. And you know what? Before I get into it, let's let him describe this new venture he has in place. So everyone, without further ado, please welcome JC Vaughn, the true brain of the mainframe, to the show. JC, how you doing?
Good evening, Braino, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I always love having you on. I learned something new. You are a knowledgeable man in this field. And I'm glad you're a friend, a colleague on the POPXP, and I'm very excited for what you're bringing to the table today.
I'm excited about it too. You know, I think most of our regular audience knows that I'm the Overstreet guy. I do the Overstreet Comic Book Price Guide and all of our other books, and I've been doing that for a little better than 25 years. I've been fortunate enough that I have a job that I love, and you know, how many people get to say that? I am very conscious of that all the time. Yet at the same time, I still always seek the creative outlet. And sometimes that's not necessarily through what we're doing with the Price Guide. I write screenplays. I write articles. I mean, literally thousands of articles. I've done, several screenplays, and obviously a lot of comics and things like that, and even 2 longtime comic strips. But even though I've got 40 or more nonfiction books to my credit, I've never done a novel before.
Yeah, that's
and so it's sort of a novel sensation.
Yeah, that's great. And what's cool too is, you know, we mainly deal with talking about comic books, right?
Yeah.
And we are known, you know, you have your different comic book series out, ones that you've been working on over the years, writing articles about certain comic books, comic creators, things of that nature. And what I think is really cool is that you have now brought your incredible talent to a novel, but you also brought it into the arena that we have been talking about for almost 2 years now.
Yeah, it's really amazing. Going back to the first days of Frozen Bald Guy, when we were just testing this stuff out, and had such hopes for POPXP, let alone, you know, the great thing that's become the influential. I hate the word influencer, but you know. Yeah. There are definitely campaigns that have made it because they were on this show. Definitely other campaigns that at least had the awareness and participation raised by doing that. And I think it's been an invaluable service. And it's really cool to see you and the rest of the team branching out into other shows as well now. And some of it by necessity, but others because it's what, you know, along the way, what we have all talked about wanting to do. So sort of creatively along those same lines, I've wanted to do a novel for a long time. I wrote the first draft of this in 2014 and even did it as a Christmas book for my friends in Texas.
Oh, cool.
I used to do that when I worked for Avis Rent-A-Car. I would put out a book of short stories and poetry every year, and just like hand assembled kind of stuff. But that's what I did for everybody for Christmas. And a lot of my dear friends still have all the ones I did, and some of them I wish they didn't. And you know, and truthfully, I really don't actually. I'm you know, I never embarrassed when I put my best effort into it, even if I fell flat. And but the great thing about it for me is that I actually got some feedback from some of them. A couple of them really liked it, and I let it get cold enough that when I really got hit, which was I was listening to Alex Segura's first book. The audiobook of it. He wrote this Pete Fernandez series of mysteries. It's basically a reporter as the crime solver. And they were so good I mean, I was making excuses to get into the car and go places. Oh, I'll go to the store for you, honey.
Yeah.
Just so I could hear another chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something about the cadence of Alex's writing in that. And truthfully, I've got it, but I haven't read his Poe Dameron book from the Star Wars line yet. But his Pete Fernandez stuff, just the cadence of it, man, just grabbed me. And I'm like, man, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat down. I gave it to a friend of mine who's a librarian, and she sort of eviscerated the manuscript. And the truth is, it needed it, and it really wasn't about her specific notes. It was stop being so damn clever and in love with your words.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing for a writer, man. We all are in love with our words. And so I had a couple other people read it. Old Cap, Jason Odom, my friend Debbie Chocare, who does a podcast called The Whiskey Mistress, all about different whiskeys. And they are, they're, other than being nice people, they're night and day in their personalities and their interests and things like that. Mm-hmm. And they were giving me the same notes.
Oh, good.
And it was really cool. I mean, it was something I truthfully had never experienced as a writer before from an editorial perspective, getting totally different people telling me the same thing. And it was really encouraging. And so I did about 3 more drafts of it, and it's done. And it's a murder mystery set in my adopted hometown of Hurst, Texas, where, as I say, the murder rate has skyrocketed in recent years to 3/4 of a person a year. So I'm going to do what I can to nudge that upwards. And become my hometown's Jessica Fletcher, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, and so it's about 2 private eyes, Donovan Bay and Michelle Benson, and this grisly, unsolved murder that the police they haven't officially given up on it, but there's been no leads in a year. Mm-hmm. And Hearst is not typical small town. It's what's called the mid cities. It's the area between Dallas and Fort Worth. They're all independent towns. They're cities. They're not technically suburbs, but it is suburban. Mm-hmm. And Hearst is known for having a terrific police force. They're paid way more than the cops over in Dallas, which is a harder duty. Mm-hmm. It's sort of 3/4 of the way between Dallas and Fort Worth toward the Fort Worth side. And it was a great place to grow up. There's not that there's no crime there. It's there's human beings involved. Of course there's crime, but there's not a lot of violent crime there.
Mm-hmm. Now, how long, because you have so many different projects going on. You've worked on so many things. Where did you find the time to write this?
A friend of mine, from my days where I was breaking in, Pauline Weiss, she's Alan Weiss's wife. Okay. Was an editor at Defiant, and rather gifted too. Pauline used to use the phrase "in my copious free time," and I try to give her credit whenever I used it, but I've been using it for 26 years since I stole it from her. How did I get this done? The first one, doing the first draft, it was just a goal. I mean, literally, I got up every morning, and I think it might have been Elmore Leonard who said, "Start writing before you have your coffee." Mm-hmm. Just sit down and write whatever it is. It's an hour, 15 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever your set time is, go do it. Don't worry about your shower. Don't worry about this. And I sort of became like, I got up every morning, and every night before I went to bed, I would do it again. Yeah. And that was after my Gemstone work, after my other creative work. Nothing was allowed to suffer except my sleep. Yeah. And it's so intoxicating when you get in the rhythm of any kind of project. You know this yourself. And I whether you're writing or drawing, not me drawing, but you know what I mean, editing, right. Designing stuff, as I was making some of the icons for the Kickstarter and Indiegogo campaigns, I was just, I was having fun. I was trying stuff. I'm still not adept at InDesign, so I was trying to learn stuff. Yeah. And you feel great when you're in a groove like that. I've had it with screenplays. I wrote one screenplay in like 12 days, writing before work, on my lunch hour, and after work. Just boom, you know? And the whole thing is that one of the hardest things ever for me is get it down on paper or on the screen, whatever you want to say. And don't worry about editing it like that. So the editing process of this, the thing for me is, especially when I'm being precious or clever, let the thing get cold.
Yeah.
And then read it like 6 months later and you go, oh, this is crap. And it wasn't crap. The story wasn't crap. The story was good. I mean, from the beginning, I like the story. The clever wordplay, the just, and you just want to strangle the guy and go, shut up, you stupid, lousy writer. And then you go, oh, it's me, you know? And then the old axiom that writing is rewriting is it's absolutely true. So unless you're Rex Stout and Nero Wolfe and you just write a draft and you're done.
And you're done, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just start writing out gems. So how long of a process was this? How long did it take to complete this novel?
Wow, that's a great question. I guess 7 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I finished the first draft inside of 4 months in 2014. Now, that is not working on it all the time. That is, matter of fact, leaving it alone for years, literally. Like I'd pick it up, look at it, go, man, I can't fix this yet. And part of it is, you know, I mean, let's face it, there's not a lot of professions where you're in your 50s and you're concentrating on getting better.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that hit cruise control. I'm thankfully surrounded by creative people who are never cease trying to get better. And I think that's, you know, that makes any project worth doing, worth doing well. Right.
Exactly.
So
treat it. I always say to treat it like creativity, they're like trades, you want to keep doing it. And the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Yeah.
And, it's second nature to a point, but you can always improve.
Yeah. And you hope that you get to the point where something is so internalized that you can't explain it to somebody else. Yeah. But the fact is that you keep on pursuing it, getting better. And that's the thing. And I had a couple of things that drove me forward on this, which was one, Alex Segura had come out with a new Pete Fernandez book. And I'm like, crap, I got to do that. And then, when you get a cover artist like Joe Jusko, and, here's what I can't understand. And I know I've talked about this rather openly, but I can't understand how I'm the first one to have him do a crime novel cover. I think that some of the publishing house people, and I'm probably hurting my future sales here by saying that they're idiots. But in all seriousness, listen, I know Joe was born to do the Burroughs covers.
Yeah.
He is on his life's job right now doing those things. But how can you look at my cover and not say, I want to check out that book?
Well, let's look at the cover.
Please look at that. I mean, and an element I really have to acknowledge here too is also Don Guzzo, who used to be part of the Marvel bullpen and runs a place called Atomic Studios now with her husband Gary, my friend, designed the logo and the lettering that's on the police line tape. And I think she just, she killed it as she always does. She's done a lot of stuff for me. But look at that cover, man. How can you not want to do this? How and how can like Hard Case Crime or any of the other people doing noir stuff not be ringing Jusko's phone off the hook?
Yeah. And honestly, you look at this image, right? We obviously see the police line. We know there's a crime, but even just the title, Second Wednesday. Like it just grabs me, and it makes Second Wednesday. Like what does that mean? What does it mean? I need to read the book so that the title makes sense. It's very eye catching, and it mentally it grabs you once you read Second Wednesday.
My first writing partner and one of the dearest and most influential guys in my life was my boss at Avis, Doug Zirkle. He's a Baptist pastor in Colorado now, and Doug is the one who gave me the title. He read the first draft of the book and said that, and as is typical for our relationship. I like, okay, I didn't like the idea. It used to be we'd Thursdays we'd hide out in our office at Avis and just critique the heck out of each other's writing. And I'd always argue a point defending my stuff, and then I'd come in the next day with it done the way he said. You know, it was just like I had to fight, right? And I'm like, I didn't like it, and then I put it. Then I sat down and typed it, and I looked at it, and I go, yeah, okay, yeah.
It works though. It all works. I mean, it's eye catching, and like I said, you read that, and it grips your mind of like, what the heck does second
What
Wednesday
does that mean?
What does that mean?
And it's not like an alien word or something like that. It's silly or anything.
It's actually it's just second Wednesday. So is it the second Wednesday of the month? Is it this? Is it that? Like, who knows? You know, the second Wednesday of the year, you know, it's like, what is the meaning of this? And I think it really helps tie in with this being a mystery crime novel.
You want something mysterious, but not so mysterious that people go, huh?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Which is cool. Now, what's neat too, though, is you have other artists that have worked on this novel. Explain this concept here. Yeah,
I'm a comic book guy, and I can't.
Yeah. So the other artists are these alternative covers. Are we going to have some illustrations inside the book? Do tell.
That's a great question. They are spot illustrations. I'm not doing, other than the fact that there's two editions, one with the spot illustrations and one without. The deluxe limited edition is the one that has the spot illustrations. A few years ago, too many years ago now, IDW started reprinting Richard Stark's Parker books that had never had hardcover editions in their lives. That starting with the first one, and Darwin Cook did these beautiful spot illustrations from him. And he because of his adaptations, I had become familiar with the Parker books and then fell in love with them. And so I just adored it when he produced that first hardcover, and then nothing. And then of course Darwin passed, and it's doubly heart wrenching because you think about what might have been, as well as this great guy that we lost. And so when I was finishing up the book, Ego said, "Oh, come on, you got to do a hardcover." And I'm like, "Yeah, nobody's heard of me as a novelist. I'm the Overstreet guy. I may have 40 hardcovers in print, but it doesn't really matter, does it? Not in this thing." So, I decided I was going to do a special limited paperback, same format, except that it's got spot illustrations, and because of my Overstreet connections and my POPXP connections and my creative efforts, I know a lot of people. And so I pulled the Ringo Starr bit and get by with a little help from my friends, and asked some people to do specific characters in the book. And thus far, the ones that I have in, I have a couple others that are coming in. Everything will be ready to go to press before the campaign's end. The book actually may be not at the printer like I was with McCandless. I was like ready to go then. There are a couple things where people can name characters in the book, so I'll have to wait till the campaigns are finalized. Yeah. But other than that, the book is ready to go, or will be at that point. And so I got a lot of great people to do spot illustrations in this novel. And I mean, you want to
let's show them off. Let's go. Why not?
Okay, sure. Let's show what we have so far. Sure.
Yeah. So let's start off. We'll start off with our good buddy. Let's start off with our good buddy here,
Mr. Billy Tucci.
Mr. Billy Tucci. What a
great... Now Billy's piece. This will be color. Most of these are going to be a combination of color and black and white. With the color concentrating on the figures. I have this notion on this one that I may sort of ghost color, like maybe 10%, maybe 15%, the Lone Star flag, because it is the greatest of all state flags. But this is Donovan Bay and Michelle Bentley. What's interesting, sorry, I said Michelle Bentley. That was her name originally, but that also was the last name of one of Alex's characters, and I didn't realize it till I was sitting down at this last draft, and I was like, nah, she's Michelle Benson now. There's a lot of detail in her hair, which will be interesting to see how it comes out, because she's blonde. She's really blonde. I just didn't think it would be right if it was Texas, and I didn't do at least one blonde.
Gotta have blonde.
And they're partners. They're the stars of the book. If there is a third book, it will be told from Michelle's point of view rather than Donovan's.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and I really love these characters. A lot of fun. Donovan has two traits. One that I want. This is aside from hair.
Yeah, me too.
Donovan has a 64.5 Mustang.
Ooh.
And that was the car my parents had when I was little. And okay, so he's my fantasy guy, right? And then the thing that he really does was he eats at Taco Bueno, which I always say is like, if Taco Bell was good.
Yes.
And it was the fast food that I met when I went to Texas. My brother would typically stop there before he stops at my mother's house. Mm-hmm. We're just slaves to the stuff. So this guy's always talking about Taco Bueno, and I literally got hungry writing the book.
Yeah, fantastic. That's funny, actually. All right.
Oh man, I got to tell you, Sergeant Mosby here, John K. Snyder III. A lot of people know him from Fashion and Action, from the secret agent at Classics Illustrated, Jekyll and Hyde, as Suicide Squad, any number of things. But to me, I've always adored Fashion and Action. But when he did Lawrence Block's 8 Million Ways to Die as a graphic novel, I was, it's really cool when your friends can just blow you away, even after you've known them a long time. And so I knew that I wanted John to do this character, and he volunteered right away. And so I said, okay, here's the springboards. I gave him the character description, all this kind of stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I literally got this morning. I think it was like 4:12 in the morning. And I look at this, and it is just everything it's supposed to be about Sergeant Mosby. Mosby is this great monosyllabic, he's a cop's cop. He's a badass, and he's older now. So, he might be riding the desk a little bit. And he just points out the obvious kind of stuff like that. And like I said, he's a cop's cop. And I saw this piece, and Rosina saw it, and then she started asking me questions about it right away. And that's when I know something's on fire when she's into it. So
did he hit the nail on the head with this? Is this what you were?
I told him that when he reads the book, he's going to be stunned by how close he got without having read it.
Wow.
Just having read my descriptions.
Incredible.
Yeah. I would want to take that to a casting agent if this was a show.
And we have Laura Field.
Laura Field is a librarian. She used to date Donovan in high school before she came out, before she discovered her orientation, let's say. Mm-hmm. And she is a research hound. She is like insane for coming up and remembering details and things like that. And if you're a private investigator, whether you're in Hearst, Texas or someplace else, that's a really great asset to have on your team. And Chris Evanhuse, who does Wynonna Earp, I think is
nailed this.
Oh my gosh, is this beautiful?
What's great about it?
This came in yesterday, and I was just like, I could stop now.
His lines, I love the way he does everything, because the outline is always a thick line, but it's not like it works. Have you ever seen work where it's like they do the thick lines on the outside, but it just doesn't work with the background and the rest of everything else? I think his style works, and it melts.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. I don't want to group them together because they both do appealing people.
Yeah,
but there's one aspect where I think he's like Amanda Connor, and that's that his line work is pleasing both to modern fans and older people.
Yes. Yep.
And that's a remarkable bridge to a road to straddle, rather. Mm-hmm. And it's very accessible, and yet it's brimming with character.
Yeah. I didn't even think Amanda. Wow. You said that, and I'm like, oh yeah, right there. Boom. Both of them have that ability. And some people try to do it. It doesn't look right.
Because our core audience with Overstreet guys are familiar with Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age. They know their history, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Guys that are hardcore about that tend to scoff at modern artists, but they don't scoff at Amanda, and they're not going to scoff at Chris either.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a great piece.
And man, I am so psyched about this one. I can't wait to see it. The figure will be color. Yeah. And the background will be black and white. And I think that's just gonna rock. This is by Mary Wilshire, who has not done comics that most people know of for years. She pioneering sort of person on Red Sonja. Did some Disney comics too. I love her Red Sonja stuff. And other material, but never really got the credit, though. I think you'll find somebody like Amanda will cite her as an influence. She's a friend of a friend, and I was psyched, absolutely psyched to get her to do that. And this was actually the first piece that came in and really set the standard for what I was going to take, except from anybody else. Yeah. So we're really psyched about it. And it's also psyched. I think Mary might be doing some other comic work now. And if my nudging had anything to do with that, I'll take credit for it all day.
Well, what is she, for those that aren't familiar with her? I mean, what is she known for besides, Red Sonja? You said
Red Sonja. I mean, really, it's not. She did not have a long run. She worked on some of the Disney comics too.
Oh, okay.
But her figures are nice. You can see the line work there is just pure as all get out.
Yeah, yeah.
And I love like the detailing on the wood and the blinds behind.
Great perspective in that image.
Yeah, and a real little bit of Texas flavor, which is dead on. She asked me great questions about the character.
Yeah, very good. And then we got our last image here.
This is Tyler Newsop. Tyler is a fellow private investigator who they have to hire because they've sort of promised to go exclusive on the case that is the main case, but there is, and here's the comic book connection, a missing Amazing Fantasy 15 and Tales of Suspense 39. And
nice.
Tyler is a comic book collector who does not scoff at them the way the Euless police do, thinking these comics can't be worth any money.
Yeah, and he's all over it.
Yeah. And Tyler even has a little bit of a dissertation about having an emergency backup comic shop where you go in often enough that they know you and don't think you're coming in just for the hot book of the month when you really are coming in just for the hot book of the month.
Yeah. Now, is this a take on any reality here? Is this your inner collector?
No, absolutely not. No, Tyler, there's a long history of the name that I won't bore you with, but it is it's a fun character, and one that, again, if I get to do more, we'll do more with Tyler because he's a lot of fun, very pop culture oriented, and since that's sort of where the overlap comes, that's because that's my wheelhouse. I can come up with pop culture crimes all the time,
Yeah, yeah.
So,
well, this now is, let's get into where this book can be found. I mean, you're doing a double header on this.
Yeah, it's running on when Billy did. We've gone up. When Billy did the No Fan Left Behind campaign for She Return of the Warrior, I really wasn't aware before that there really were some people that were preferred to shop on Kickstarter and some that preferred to back on Indiegogo. I didn't know that it made a difference, and so I was a little bit ignorant about that. But in truth, man, why would we? Yeah, it's more work, but why would we ignore any chance to get our creative work out to people?
Exactly.
And I'm not preaching to one side or the other because, I know everything's divided and all that, but I'm not.
Look at department stores and stuff that we still have out there. I mean, they sell pretty much all the same stuff except their store brand, right?
Yeah.
But besides that, name brand stuff, they all carry the same thing. But someone may, like to go to one place better than the other for brand loyalty or convenience or whatever it may be. And why not for this? Why not for this as well? I mean, you've got, there's reasons people back certain stuff, right? There's reason that people are only going to back Kickstarter because most Kickstarter backers don't know about Indiegogo. And then we all know that there's a history with why many Indiegogo backers don't back Kickstarter.
Yeah.
But they're both great platforms. And you know what? It's a business.
Absolutely. And again, I'm a creative person. I want to make as much of my living as possible from my creative projects. I'm blessed that I have a job that I like. I know a lot of creators are just toiling away with what they call their day job. I happen to love my day job, you know, and I've been blessed with like that. I'm very conscious of that, but I'm also not in a position where I can go front this book by myself.
Exactly.
You know, it'll take me a lot longer. And what we were able to do with McCandless, having everything ready with McCandless Company crime scenes, was I was able to start delivering those in December when they were promised in February.
Yeah.
You know, so I felt really good about that. And I wanted to have a really great campaign under my belt before I did this, because it is so different. It's not comics, even though I've got comics creators involved, and I'm very happy with the ones I've got. Even though we also have comic book theme in it that we just mentioned. You know, it's not comics, and it is something different. So that hence the target, man.
Fantastic. So this just launched today.
Yeah, just 6 o'clock.
It's January 26th, 2021, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Second Wednesday, launched on Kickstarter and Indiegogo.
Yep.
So they can back the book. Bunch of different levels. As you can see, I am actually a backer of the limited edition myself,
which is really cool. Thank you very much.
We've got a bunch of different levels, you know, a level where you can just help support, but you got your $20 standard edition, which is, you know, definitely a reasonable price.
So let me say one thing about the standard edition now that I want to make sure everybody knows, that we are producing a bookmark for this title. And it'll be, you know, we're not going to, you know, people who get this through Amazon when it's out there and that other kind of stuff like that, they're not going to get this. The other thing that they're going to get is there's going to be a second story that comes with it, which is the first solo story of Michelle Benson.
Oh, fantastic.
And it's called Saturday Night the Usual. And everybody that gets a physical level will get that.
Oh,
it'll just be a PDF prose story. There's other stories coming along that will be a great part of this when we get to the stretch goals. But okay, so we've got the standard edition of the book, we've got the deluxe edition with the spot illustrations.
Yep.
We've got a package to get both, which there's a pretty good discount on that actually. And then there's a few other things. There's some packages of some of my comics and graphic novels. And there's also on both Kickstarter and Indiegogo, there's a chance to get in and be a character in the book. One has a person of interest that may or may not be a red herring or may be something critical.
Nice.
And then there's two suspects, male and female, on which I think one's on Indiegogo.
Okay, so the exclusive for Kickstarter is going to be a person of interest named after you, which would go in the book. And then on Indiegogo, when we come over to the pledges here, again, it's the same packages for the most part until we get over to the name a male suspect and name a female
suspect. The other one difference is over on Kickstarter, we have Billy's art for the spot illustration of Donovan Bay and Michelle Benson. And, you know, like I said, I'm sort of hoping that this is not their only appearance, or it's not their first and only appearance.
Yeah.
And so it literally is the first image of them. So if somebody wants to take a flyer on that and get some great Billy Tucci art with the, as I mentioned, superb state flag of the Lone Star State in the background, I think it's a beautiful piece by itself. I think it looked really nice framed up in somebody's room. So, you know, but on the plus side, you know, we're not letting it go below value just because we want to raise some money. Billy is super supportive of our efforts. And so there's no desire to cheapen his artwork.
Yeah, no, his artwork's great. And that's cool that you have that pledge level here.
Yeah. Oh man. Listen, if somebody gets that, they're going to be very happy with it. And I'm so paranoid about shipping art with our present shipping conditions that I overpack like crazy.
Yeah.
And I mean, seriously, if it's in driving distance, I'll drive it to your house. I'm so paranoid about shipping art, and it's just, listen, I know people do it all the time and they do it successfully. It's just, I've had so many things banged up under the present overburdened circumstances by the couriers and the post office, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely. I hear you. Now, the Kickstarter and the Indiegogo, are they running for the same amount of time?
Yeah, there's maybe like a few hours or something overlap.
Will Indiegogo in demand? Will that go in? If you get funded on Indiegogo, will you bring that in demand, or are you going to stop both campaigns where they are?
I will tell you right now that if this goes better than I'm imagining, I have no problem leaving it in demand. My intention is that it stops that day. But hey, I'm always open to success.
Okay, and then before we go, in tradition, we have to play the campaign video. So
all right,
instead of playing both, we'll pick one.
Well, I'll tell you the great thing here. I chose my wording very carefully. It's the same video.
Perfect. All right, so let's check out the Second Wednesday novel by J.C. Vaughn, a Donovan Bay, Michelle Benson mystery. Let's check out the campaign video.
Who killed Roger Hollander? For more than a year now, the grisliest murder in the history of the normally sleepy mid-cities town of Hurst, Texas has gone unsolved. With the case growing colder by the day and desperate for any kind of breakthrough, the victim's mother turns to private investigators Donovan Bay and Michelle Benson. They dig in immediately, but the more they unearth, the worse the victim looks, the more potential suspects they find, and the deeper the mystery becomes. This is Second Wednesday. Hi, I'm J.C. Vaughn, and I've started this campaign to ask for your help in completing one of my nearly lifelong dreams, publishing a novel. I've written literally thousands of articles, dozens of comic books, 2 serialized comic strips, and even a few screenplays. And I've written, co-written, edited, and even designed more than 40 nonfiction books. But Second Wednesday is my first novel. It's set in my adopted hometown of Hurst, Texas, where the murder rate is actually something like 3/4 of a person a year. Second Wednesday will change that. As you'll see from the offerings in this campaign, there are 2 versions of the book, the standard edition softcover and the deluxe edition, also a softcover. The only real difference between the 2 is that the deluxe version is a limited edition. It features spot illustrations by some of my very creative friends who just happen to be among the most talented artists in the comic book industry. This includes a simply smoldering piece from cover artist Joe Jusko, which is complemented by brilliant design work from designer Don Guzzo. As we launch, I'll also tell you about the amazing artists who have contributed spot illustrations to Second Wednesday's Deluxe Edition, and I hope you will appreciate their work as much as I do. There are various ways you can support this campaign, including choosing to have a character in the book named after you, picking up some of my previous projects, and of course, the basic one, just coming in and selecting one of the editions of the book. All of them are appreciated. Your support is critical to making this happen, and I do not take it for granted. I want to say also, if this isn't a good time for you financially, you can still help out by sharing our link around to your friends via email and social media. In this kind of situation, every bit helps, and that's not just words. I know it from experience on other projects I've edited and those that I've created myself. So really, seriously, if you can't help out in terms of financially backing it, by all means, don't feel like you can't help out. Thanks for considering supporting this project and helping me make my dream and Second Wednesday a reality. I really appreciate it.
Fantastic. And that's the right message. That's the right message, Jeff. Yeah, you're muted.
Well, thank you. Yeah. We've talked about it so many times on the show, and the reality is that I was using the word blessed earlier. I'm very conscious that I've worked throughout the pandemic. I know you've been busy too, and we're so fortunate.
We are. Yeah, I didn't skip a beat. Nothing. I was not interrupted.
Because almost, listen, anybody who lost their job because of the pandemic, it's not their fault.
Exactly.
Unless they're in Wuhan, China.
Yeah.
In which case I got some suspicions. but in all seriousness, brother, I mean, we are so fortunate that we've been in this situation, that I'm very mindful of the fact that and I've been in a spot before where I wanted to back a campaign and I had just, helped somebody out and I couldn't. So, but I know what sharing the links around does. That's how these things succeed.
Exactly.
Because you find somebody who wanted to help but forgot about it. You find somebody who didn't even know about you beforehand, and you see, in our case, we know other creators that share links around, and you say, "Oh, he likes it. Maybe I should check this out." It makes such a difference for this, and it's the same is true for fans. If people have seen you active in forums and suddenly you start posting about it,
they're like, well, if he likes it, then I'm going to check it out. If she likes it, I'm going to check it out. I mean, that's how it works. That's how it works. Well, I definitely wish you the best of luck.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. I want to get back one second. When we were talking about the character Tyler Newsop, I don't think I mentioned Ed Cato, who illustrated that. Ed is the co-owner of Captain Action, but he's also a very fine illustrator, and he's got a great story coming up whenever American Mythology releases bedtime stories for impressionable children. The next issue, he's got a beautiful story in there, just incredible.
Oh, cool.
And he deserved a rave and a shout out. So I wanted to, sorry to interrupt you there, but I needed to get.
No problem. Yeah, no, definitely. And when that stuff's going, we got to jump on and do a stream on all that as well. Maybe even get someone, maybe get them on.
Let me tell you, I would love to get as many of the creators as possible on for that show, for that annual, the King Size Giant Special Annual. It's going to be fun because it's like 48 pages of uninterrupted horror and craziness.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I like the other stuff, the other bedtime for impressionable minds that you had there. And I got to say, man, I wish you the best of luck with this novel. I backed it. I know it's going to be great. I was a fan of yours before we became friends. And I really do encourage anyone that's watching this, back this novel. You won't regret it. You won't regret it. JC is an absolute talent. He's a fantastic writer. That's why a lot of us trust him reading our material. And really, good luck with this. I know you're going to do great. Man. We'll push it through all of our channels, on all our social media. And for all the viewers out there, if you can do the same, if you can't back it, even if it's not your thing, you're not into crime, mysteries, you know what? Help support independent creators out and help push the campaign. That's all.
And the great thing about crime is, if you're a superhero guy like me, you might not be into crime fiction. I happen to be into both. But here's the thing: somebody that is.
Exactly.
And somebody to whom your opinion matters.
Exactly. So spread the word, everyone. And JC, thanks so much for coming on to talk.
Niall, thanks for doing this, brother. I really appreciate it. I look forward to being able to share the link to this around to everybody, and I will do so with wild abandon.
Fantastic. And we are now ending we're ending this recording, JC, and we're also ending, I think, we have 71 days left now
in
our YouTube jail. So we'll keep chipping away at it, and we're going to keep producing our content. And since we can't go live,
we'll be under the trees by Wednesday.
Yeah. Maybe it's the second Wednesday. I don't know. But all right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. If you liked what you saw, please make sure to click that subscribe button and also click that bell to get notifications when we go live and we upload new content. You all are the best. We love our POPXP fans, and we will see you on the next one.
Night, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Hey everyone. Thank you for joining us on POPXP. If you haven't already, make sure to click that subscribe button and also click the bell for notifications when we go live and we upload some awesome new content. Also, don't forget to head on over to Twitter and follow us at the POPXP and over on Instagram at the POPXP. Thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you soon.